Hello, welcome back for another video. Today we're going to go through how to field strip pretty much any pistol. The process is the same. Field strip and clean and maintain your gas blowback pistol. It's a topic that's been talked about a lot, online, forums, Reddits, and Discord. You ask people, they're always going to give you slightly different versions. This is how I do it, and it's pretty quick, simple, doesn't take much time at all. The purpose of field stripping and then giving it a clean is to make sure the gun will run smoothly the next time you use it. It's not one of those deep clean where I'm going to take everything out, relube all the seals and whatnot. This is literally just to make sure the gun works as it should for the next. I'll probably do a deep clean maybe once every 6 months if I'm using it, on and off. If I'm using it like every weekend, I'm playing every weekend, maybe I'll deep clean once every 2.5, maybe even 3 months if I'm being lazy. But so let's get to it. So here I have a TM Glock Gen 5, Glock 17 Gen 5. I've done a video on this upgrade and stuff like that in a previous video. Highly recommend to go and give it a watch if you're interested. But to field strip, for the ease, I'm going to take the torch off. To field strip, literally check the gun's clear, happy days, and then just put on a tab, knock the slide forward, comes apart. So we're going to focus on the lower first. So the lower, where your pistol grip is, you got these rails. So on most pistols, you're going to see on the lower, there's some rails, or potentially with like the Shadow 2, you have a full length rail on the bottom and a full length rail on the slide itself. But the principle is the same. So what I like always to do is to wipe off any old grease that you have. I use Q-tips. I like these makeup ones where you have a little pointy end on one end and you have a kind of a ballpoint bit on the back. It just means that you can get to the bigger the smaller and the bigger bits. So inside a rail, I like to give it a clean like so. So you can see those black bits coming off now. So that's just the old grease, gunk through firing, etc. Just going to wipe them off. As this is just a normal maintenance, I don't tend to get too into it. It's literally just wipe off any surface gunk. So now I'm turning the Q-tip around and getting some of the larger surface. The inside, outside, here we are. And don't be afraid to just throw these out and then use another bit. And then just go over and make sure every bit is as clean as it can. Getting to anywhere that you can reach, really. Just, especially on Glock, sometimes the magazine well can get pretty gunky, especially on the hammer unit at the back here as well. As you can see, that's quite a lot of stuff coming off. That's good. Switch to the end, release the trigger, get inside there. Yes. Here we are. Now, I like to take a square and then just rip off a bit of these towel I use is automotive shop towels. I get them from Costco, but I'm pretty sure you can buy them online as well. They're great. They're great at absorbing oil, and then just these, big surfaces. I like to go through it with this. This pistol's not too dirty, but it is due for a quick clean. So I get into the mag well, finger the gun a little bit. Here we go. Now, all the old gunk is off. We'll set that aside, and then we'll move on to the slide. So we just assemble this as is. Here we are, and then it's literally just the 3-part: the guide rod, and the spring, and the barrel, etc. So the barrel to me is looking fairly clean, so I'm just going to skip that now. But for the So now we're gonna do the upper. So we just disassemble it quickly. It's nothing too hard. So we've got 3 parts. Basically, we've got the slide itself, the hop and barrel assembly, and the guide rod. Now, for me, I've got one of the upgraded guide rod by Cow. So I will just quickly disassemble this like so. It's not too dirty. I'll normally wipe it down to get some of the black gunk off of it. Here we are. And one way that I like to clean the spring by is just to jam it in to one of the rings here. Just apply a little bit of pressure and then just twist. And it cleans the spring pretty well this way, just to get, get into on the inside. It does clean it pretty well. Twist it all the way to the end. And here we go. So here we are, although the spring looked clean, but there was some gunk on it. And we'll do the same for the big spring as well. Here we are, yeah, that's quite a lot of stuff on that as well. So that's how we get the spring cleaned, and then we're just gonna quickly disassemble this hop unit. And normally, if you have a stock pistol, they do come apart quite easily. So sometimes you will see there's quite a lot of gunk on top. We'll wipe that down and get one of the Q-tip and get into the hop chamber and just give that a wipe and a clean. Just make sure that there's not any oil and gunk buildup where the hop chamber is, inside here, at the front, anywhere that you think you can reach, give it a clean. And because it's a field strip clean, I'm not going to get into the hop unit, clean everything out, and the barrel and etc. This is literally me just, minimal tools. I shouldn't need to use any screwdrivers and stuff like that. I'm doing this for the benefit of viewers, that if you have a stock gun, this will normally come out quite easily. Now, the slide. So this is where, most people kind of just give it a wipe and then call it a day. What I like to do is give it a wipe, surfaces that you can get your fingers into, inside here, yep. But then I like to use the Q-tips, but more so these really small ones. I can get them in focus. They are great. You can get them on Amazon and then just run it through the rail. Run it through the rail, and you tend to just pick up old oil and gunk and stuff like that quite easily through that way. Here we are. And then if you have like brushes like these, get yourself one. They're great. Just, brush out some of the bigger gunks like so. Get them out. Just brush out some of the mud, dirt, debris that might have gotten into, over the weeks that you've played with the gun and stuff like that. Now, once everything's been cleaned off, what I like to do is start with silicone oil. So I use Super Lube, they're great. What I like to do is just pull back the nozzle and just give it maybe one drop. That was probably too much, arguably too much. But one drop, and I just work it in like so, and then put a little bit of my finger like that, and just give the rest a nice even wipe. Do not overlube, and I've stressed this in other videos before, is that if you overlube, it acts more like a glue than a lubricant. So it really doesn't help the gun function if you put too much in. For seals, rubber silicone seals, I like to use Super Lube, the silicone lube. They are great. But for metal on metal, so I've got a metal slide on this. Metal on metal, even plastic on metal, anything that tend to wear against each other, I like to use these. The Extreme Fluoro is a bike lube, but it's polymer based. What's great about this is that because it's polymer based, it doesn't come really into effect. It doesn't get affected by temperature as much. So you know, these might congel, get a bit more glue-like when it gets too cold, especially that I'm in Scotland. In the winter, you know, the cold weather do kick us in the balls a little bit. So especially for us gas players. So I like to use this. And again, just a tiny amount. It's really nice that it comes with these really nice fine tip. So we can just get a little bit into the rail here. And the rail on the other side. And I want to say little, like, you know, just a smidge, a line across. And because I've done it on the top, I don't need to do it on the bottom because I've got enough. That's enough. And then for the trigger group, I like to just, again, going with the silicone lube a little bit, because again, we're field stripping. We're not taking everything apart. If I'm taking everything apart, I would go in with the finish line Extreme Fluoro in here in each individual part. But because we have quite strong springs in the trigger group, etc., we don't need to necessarily go for just give the hammer a quick wipe again, or sometimes we'll get a clean bit and just dab a bit of the lube, spread them around a little bit, you know, help them coat the surfaces evenly. And here we are. Then we can just reassemble the barrel. And then for the spring, again, I like to use Extreme Fluoro again for this purpose, because this is metal on metal where it's, you know, these silicone lubes are fine, or, you know, even the super lube grease, they're good as well. But again, I like to go in with a bit of a Extreme Fluoro, just squeeze a bit on that and then just work it in like that, coat the surface, and go in a little bit on there, coat the surface. It doesn't need a lot. I generally do not need a lot. And then I can put this back on, screw this back on, ready for reinstallation. And here we are. Put that back in. And then put the slide back on. And then I like to work it in like this. So again, going back to the Extreme Fluoro, I use this. It forms a very thin layer of polymer gliding against each other. So it's not, you know, liquid or anything like that. It doesn't evaporate. It's nice and smooth, and it's great. So I've got the dry firing following there, so works perfectly now. So that's how I would field strip, and it's just a simple clean and a maintenance that, you know, anyone can do at home. If you have a pistol, give it a go. It's really nice and simple. Doesn't take a lot of time, effort, and, you know, you can take a lot more effort than how I just showed there. But this is like kind of a quick, easy way to keep on top of your maintenance for your gas blowback pistol. Any questions? Drop it in the comment. Hope you liked the video, and give us a follow. Right, thank you very much.